So excited right now. Um, I wrote a book in 2008. It's called Losing Our Manhood, Developing Self-Esteem in African American Boys. I read a statement that affected me very deeply. It says, it's better to fix a child than repair an adult. So I went on this journey because all of my life outside of the basketball court and outside of being an extremely good athlete, I was having a war inside of myself with poor self-esteem and poor self-worth outside of the court. I had agency on the court. I had self-esteem on the court, but I had none in my personal life because of a lot of issues, not only with school, um, and a lot of deficiencies. Um, so I went on this journey for about 5 years to not only research, but to write about self-esteem and self-efficacy and locus of control. I wrote this book in 2008 as a cathartic way not to only to help other people, but to heal myself. Well, here it is, 2023. Now, I've given this book out. I've sold this book, and for the first time, somebody contacted me, some young brothers. They have a reading club, and we're going to get on Zoom today, and they want to challenge and learn some of the hypotheses of the book. I'm very excited by that. I wrote it in 2008, and people are so admiring of celebrities. And of course, we got the interview now with Charleston White. It's all over the internet. God bless that brother and all of the people who are kind of doing, admiring him. But it's some people out here just doing the everyday work and not as bombastic. People are saying, the realness in which he spoke, and I get that, and I'm not here to admonish or hate on that brother. But 2008, I wrote this book, and just today, we're going to talk about it all these years later, because there are some truths in the book. I talk about the difference of environment on ethnicity, on the agency of young black boys, because there's a 68% dropout rate. Most are, and this was in 2008, it's probably worse. Most are reading 4 or 5 grades below their current level. I talk about the two warring souls of being African American and sometimes being in a country that does not honor that. I think it's important as a scholar, as a person that has to take the culture seriously, to discuss that and what that does to the minds of those who are coming up in poverty and coming up in an educational system that is sometimes 3 and 4 and 5 textbooks behind. I think it's important to talk about that. I talked about the military environment and its opportunities that are afforded to all, but and specifically African Americans. But there seems to be a disproportionate number of people who are African American who are enlisted. And don't jump on me. I had a couple of people come into my office, unfortunately, asking me, is it anything wrong with being enlisted? Because I'm a chaplain and I've learned how to have measured tones now. I didn't throw them out of my office, and we just discussed it. I never said there was anything wrong with being enlisted. I just said it was a disproportionate number of African Americans who didn't go to officer school, and I would be willing to help anybody that wanted to go to officer school because I thought it was a great opportunity. And you can go to officer school and not be called a sellout. That's what my statement was. And lastly, no, next to lastly, we talked about the growing jail population of those people who not only did not finish high school. I talked about the school being really holding places for those young men that would end up in our society going to jail because they never learned agency. And so at the end, I proposed 20 questions. And I did that from an educational perspective that hopefully that people would start a discussion around the book. Now, as everything else in life, that book was written again in 2008. Here we are in 2023, almost 2024. And some people are catching a hold to that. And so that's what we're going to do today on Zoom. It's a private group because for whatever reason I got it. I think it's important. But the reason I'm making this video, because the book is on the market. It's been on the market for some 25 years, 20 or so years. And if you want to have a private group to challenge some of the propositions, to discuss it in the private group, I'm more than happy to do that. I think the discussion needs to be had. I think as educated people, as progressive people, as people who are seeking to get the full measure of our wonderful society here, those things need to be discussed. They can be discussed internal, external. They can be discussed in large groups. When you're an educated person, and we're not talking about degrees here, when you're an educated person, you shouldn't have any fear of discussing things that are going to be helpful to communities everywhere. So just a little update. I'm always pushing. I'm always trying to find new ways. I'm always trying to inspire people. Those people who don't understand that, we don't have time to explain that to them. We come from very dire beginnings, and I don't plan on wasting my time, my remaining time on this earth, just being around here doing nothing and running from critics. I think critical analysis is important, but you have to know how to be critical and not throw personal shots at people. And so that's one of the other strategies that I'm trying to bestow on people, to teach people how to do the right thing, and let's have intelligent arguments. I think it's important. Okay, that's enough. I got to get ready for this Zoom, but I always want to include my dear family members, whatever your demographic, whatever your ethnicity, on whatever I'm doing. So I invite you all to discuss the book. It's not just for one group, one demographic. I'm willing to talk to anybody about it because I think it's important, because I think we all should have a part in the uplifting of our society and the uplifting of humanity. Okay, we'll see you. Take care.